so page 1, your A piece is 6 3/4 by 9 7/8. Your B piece is 8 1/2 by 9 7/8. C, 4 3/4 by 9 7/8. You will need 3 D pieces, and they measure 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. And you'll need 3 of them. Your E piece is 1 1/2 wide by 9 7/8. That's going to be a hinge. And your F piece is 6 3/4 by 9. Okay, so those are all your pieces. Get those cut out, and then we will start scoring things. All right, piece A is going to be scored at half on the 6 3/4 inch side. So 6 3/4 is at the top, and we're going to score it at half. Piece B will be scored at 4 1/8 on the 8 1/2 inch side. 8 1/2 at the top, 4 1/8. Okay, score piece C at half on the 4 3/4 inch side. And then all 3 of the D pieces will be scored at half on the 6 3/4 inch side. E will be scored at 3/4, so right down the center on the 1 1/2 inch side, right down the center. And F is going to be scored at 4 1/2 on the 9 inch side. Okay, so right down the center of that, 9 inch, 4 1/2 down. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees. Okay. And then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to score again at half on the 6 3/4 inch side. Okay, so we've got a 1/2 inch section here, and then this first score line is showing the mountain side, and then we've got a valley line here. Okay. So now we can put away our scoreboard, and we're going to add score tape to our 1/2 inch sections. Now F is going to need a little bit of extra work, so set that one aside for now, and we'll just put score tape on all the rest of the 1/2 inch sections. Now this hinge, I realize that it is it's not a 1/2 inch, it's 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to put 2 strips of tape on this one, and they might overlap just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, so always on the valley side, leaving a little gap. Your B piece does not get any score tape because there are no 1/2 inch sections. There's just the one score line down the middle. Okay, and then the next step is to miter all the corners. So every 1/2 inch section that has the score tape on it, we're going to just trim just a little bit off the edge of each, okay? Just a little bit of a diagonal. And then I find with the hinges, I fold them first and then cut at a diagonal, and that way I know they're even. So then when you open it up, it looks like that. Okay, so let's get these biddies out of the way. And now we'll bring in the F piece. Okay, so have it so that this score line here is on the left. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out this top 1/2 inch section, okay? So we're going to cut in along that center score line, and then we're going to cut down along this score line, okay? So we just essentially just got rid of the top half of that. Now we're going to add score tape to this bottom part. And just miter those 2 corners there. Okay, so it looks like that. Alright, now we are going to fold and crease all of our score lines. So remember to follow the Valley Mountain rule. Always fold away from the indent, away from the valley. Turn the valley into a mountain. All right, now we can start putting it all together. Excellent. All right, so get your first base page out. Those Tyvek strips that we've covered there, they are going to be on the left-hand side. Okay, take your A piece. Now remove the backing from the score tape. And we are going to adhere A right inside the pocket of your base page. Okay, so just slip it in the pocket. Just like that. Okay, so the 1/2 inch strip is right here. Okay, and adhered to the back of the pocket. Alright, so just like that. And now we are going to take piece B and C. So, oh, I forgot to fold B. Okay, so here is your B piece. Got this one part of B is slightly shorter than the other, so have this shorter side on the opening to the left, and we're going to adhere C onto the right side. Okay, so C is going to adhere to the right side of B. Alright, so now you have something that looks like that. Okay. And now the D pieces, Move that over for a second. Your 3 D pieces are going to waterfall down the center. Okay, so remove the score tape from the first one. And it is going to go right at the top in between the score lines, and it's a tight fit, so try and be as accurate as you can. You want to make sure these can still both fold. So if you go too far to the left or the right, you won't be able to fold these in. Okay, so be pretty precise on that. Okay, so it folds just like that. And now we're going to put the next one 1.5 inches below the first one. Now we're going to measure 1.5 inches from where the first D piece folds. Okay, and measure 1.5 inches down and make a mark. And then your second D piece is going to go right where you made that mark. Get it as straight as you can. Okay, so you've got 1.5 inches space here, and then your second D piece. And now we're going to do the same thing. We are going to measure 1.5 inches down from where this one folds. Make a mark again. And the third D piece is going to go there. So remove the tape backing, and the third one is going to go right there. Okay, so now you've got a little 3-piece waterfall, and that closes like that. Now we are going to adhere the hinge. So our E hinge is going to adhere onto the back of your BCD piece, okay? So on the left-hand side, on the back of it. All right, and it's going to open this way. It's going to open to the left. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. You're going to have the opening of the hinge is going to be that direction, so to the right, so that this can open like that. Okay, so remove the tape backing from 1/2 of the hinge. Okay, and then it's going to go on the back side of BCD. Okay, so there's the hinge there. The top view. And now this is going to adhere onto the base page. So we're going to open up A. This is A here. And now we're going to put the BCD E now on the left side of the base page. Okay, so remove the score tape from the other half. And adhere it to the left side of the base page. Okay, so now it does that. You've got your waterfall here, and then it also opens like that, and then you've got A over here. Okay, so A is going to close first, and then the BCD over top of it, and then lastly you've got your F piece. So F is going to be adhered, so it's going to fold down, and it's going to open to the right. So we are attaching it onto A. So this is A right here. We're going to attach it onto A right in the center, or centered. You can measure it if you like. I'm just going to eyeball it. So, right about... That looks pretty good. Alright, so now it goes down and opens to that side, and you've got that. Alright, so that's the essence of your first page. So now we just need to add some magnets. To add magnets, this is the process. We are going to, so first we're going to add the first two on the back of the BCD piece. Okay, so open it up. We're going to put two small pieces of score tape, about, as long as it's at least a ½ inch in from the edge, because we want to make sure that our pattern paper is going to completely cover the magnets. So two small pieces of score tape, and then remove the backing, obviously. And now you're going to take two magnets. So I've got, it's hard to see, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I've got two magnets that are just magnetized together. So they're just naturally magnetized together. Put those on top of the score tape. Do the same with the other piece of score tape. Now we are going to put another piece on top of those magnets. So essentially making like a magnet sandwich. And we are going to take the score tape off that. And then all we have to do is close it, and it adheres the magnets where we want them. Okay, so that's all there is to it. So we're going to be using a lot of magnets in this album. And I'm not going to go through the process every time. I'll just let you kind of, well, I'll just say that we're going to add magnets. Alright, so now we need to add them closing the B to C. So we'll do it again, two magnets. And feel free, if there's anywhere that you, instead of using magnets, if you want to use a swing tab or you want to use a different closing mechanism, like, feel free. This is your album. Do whatever you so desire. You don't have to do every single thing that I do. You're welcome to switch it up. I'm just here for inspiration. Okay, close that up. There we go. Now we need a magnet closing, or a couple closing this, your F piece onto your BCD. Close that up, and then lastly we need one closing the F piece to itself. Awesome! Alright, so Now I'm just going to get my pieces organized to start decorating. I'm going to ink them all up, and then I will come back and we will start decorating. Oh, excuse me. It's late at night right now. I'm yawning. Maybe I should go to bed. I am going to be using the blues and pinks in this part. So I'm going to ink all these up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put a couple pieces of paper on already just to save a bit of time, and I'll just put the rest on with you. So like I said, I'm going with the roses and peaches and the blues. No, which one do I like better? Okay, I'm going to use the signature piece here. Okay, and then oh, I don't have anything for inside yet. Okay. I didn't have anything planned for that, so I'm going to have to find something for inside. And I've got the solid blue there. I think I might decorate it with something. And then on the inside, I'm going to go orange, or whatever color this is, peach. So for decorating it, for anyone who is new to the whole mini album process, all you're doing is matting over the black. So you just measure whatever piece it is that you're wanting to put pattern paper on. So for instance, this one here, you just measure what it is you want to cover, and then go, you know, about 1/8 of an inch or so smaller than that, just so there's a little bit of the cardstock showing around the edges. And it's totally a personal choice. You can have a large border or a small border. You can put a couple different layers of different colors. This is where the really fun creative process begins. So feel free. There's so many things you can do with the pattern paper. Like for instance here, I knew I wanted some blue, but I didn't have, was already running out of the blue. No, I guess this is at the very beginning, but I thought it was too much blue if I just put a full blue here. So I cut it up and did a little bit of paper piecing, so you can put a photo here and then still have some of the, because sometimes you don't want to cover the pretty paper. Sometimes it's just too pretty, and I have a hard time thinking of putting a photo on top of it. So sometimes you want to have dedicated spaces for photos where you won't feel bad about covering it up, you know? So that's why I like the solid cardstock sometimes, because and then your photo is also not competing with whatever background paper is underneath it, right? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I've got this already glued down, but now put the rest of them on, and I alternated with the peach and the blue on the waterfall here. And then in between each of the waterfall pieces, I just put some plain paper with a little bit of dye, like I just inked the edges of it. Well, I inked the edges of everything, but just for some journaling areas there. So I like to look at things as a whole. So I might end up I was going to leave these blank just because I didn't want it to get too bulky. I might end up adding blue, I'm not sure. And then a peach there. I haven't decided. We'll see how bulky it gets and then we'll go from there. Because sometimes if things get too bulky, then they won't close properly, and you don't want that. And you want to make sure that you can add photos to it still. So I didn't realize I was doing this kind of off camera there. So I'm just going around the edges with some adhesive here. And if you ever get adhesive too close to the edge, you can kind of just roll it with your finger. So you don't want it to go off the edge of the paper there. Now, unfortunately, I did write on this piece, so I'm thinking I might have to cover it up just because I've got a mark there, but we'll see. And then peach again down here. Okay, so there's that. And then this opens up and I've got blue here. And then this beautiful paper. I think this is my favorite pattern in the whole collection. I just adore it. And a little space for journaling there. And then, you okay, buddy? You have a hairball? Okay, and then on the inside, got the signature, that beautiful paper again, and then over here some blue, and then on the top and bottom, borders that say everything you can imagine is real. So I have that on both the top and the bottom. So then that closes, and that closes, and that closes like that, and then I'm going to have to find some paper to put in here. I'd like it to be orange if I can find, or orange, I keep saying orange, it's not really orange. Peach. So to ink things, I'm just kind of going like this along the edge, just so there's no white edge is all. You kind of even just go like that if you don't want very much ink. I just re-inked my inker, so it's a little bit heavier than I would like it to be on this piece, but that's okay. Okay, so this is pretty. This is the last piece here. And I'm going to do some further decorating later on, but my process is to put the paper on, and then I have a vague idea of what I'm going to do, but for the most part I do like a second round of decorating and embellishing at the very end. So for now, there is your page 1. Alright, so we'll set this aside and we will get our measurements ready for page 2.